The opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good morning, welcome to Expat Insights. I'm your host Raju Mandhyan. Here at Expat Insights we take external views of the internal successes by foreigners, expats and immigrants who have made Philippines their home. This morning on Expat Insights we have two guests, husband and wife, Dr. Udo Goebel and his lovely wife Mrs. Martha Goebel. They are casual educators, that's what they call themselves, and they've been in the country for a long time. Udo's been here for 12 and Martha's been here for longer. And together they've been through schools like Ateneo, Enduron, and the German European School. They are here today to talk to us about solution-focused education. I have no idea what that is, so they will tell us. Good morning, welcome to Expat Insights.
Good morning.
So before you tell me what is solution-focused education, a bit about yourself. What I said was right?
Yes.
Anything you want to add or take away? Add maybe?
Well, for my part, you mentioned that I was here a little bit longer than
Right. I didn't want to mention it, so people would start adding up the numbers.
Oh, well, it's okay. I'm confident with my age.
Okay.
But I've been here for, I think it's been 25 years all in all, because
Wow.
I grew up here since I was 6. My parents came over here as missionaries to the Philippines in the early 1980s, and they're still here, and I came back here as an educator, more than happy to come back to the Philippines, one of my favorite places in this world.
You love it.
I do.
Udo, how do you love the Philippines?
Yeah, we love it. We wouldn't be here if we wouldn't.
No, how do you love it?
Yeah, I do like it. Yes, I
Yeah.
do. It's a good place to be. We love the country. We love the people. They're the friendliest people in the world, I think. And what I like about the Philippines is the people smile, which I really appreciate.
Do you like the humor in the Philippines?
Yes, I like the humor, but I like the friendliness, the smile.
How do you compare the humor to the German humor?
Well, it's different. It's different. You know, Germans are not known for their humor, but I think Germans do have a sense of humor. Yes.
Right, right. Now, what is it that you do you teach at the Ateneo, am I right?
I teach at different schools, yes.
Yeah.
I do. I teach, yes. For the last 2 years I've been teaching at Ateneo, and I really enjoy that. I think the students are well educated, and it's a good challenge for me as well, because we talk about some interesting topics.
All right, all right. And Martha, you want to
Yes.
tell us about what you teach or what you do in education?
Yes, at the moment, I'm the guidance counselor at the German European School Manila.
Yeah.
This year I'm there full-time.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 10 years, I've been in different colleges as well. I was at Enduring colleges and at some other seminaries in the area, teaching psychology, statistics, research methods, human sciences.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm full-time at the German school, and I absolutely love it. I get to do all sorts of things, and it can't be beat. My dream job.
So in the years that you have been in education and from the time that you were educated yourself up till now, how much has changed in the field of education, in the discipline of education? How much has changed? What has become new?
Well, good question there, Raju.
That's a good question. Okay.
Well, I
all
think
right.
I think one thing would be the whole internet-based learning. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things. Is I mean, nowadays you have students sitting in your class, and they are connected to the internet, Wi-Fi. So,
Right.
and that's in a sense it's a great experience for the students, but it's also a bit of a distraction for interaction between the teacher and the students.
You know, I completely agree, and there's a lot of different ways people have tried to, you know, incorporate the internet use and always being connected to the world. I think it's something that you need to cope with.
Yesterday in
and
the
they do.
newspaper I saw a sermon being conducted while the parishioners were tweeting their questions. So a really good one. No, not just the technology, but the soft side. What has changed in terms of thing you're going to tell me about, solution-focused technology, not just technology, a solution-focused education. What has changed on the soft side of education rather than the technology?
Yes, well, with my position as guidance counselor,
Right.
one of the things that I do within, well, as a therapist and also as an educator, is I focus on the things that work.
Right.
So a lot of times in education, and actually the SFBT method is used in charter schools in the U.S. and it's
SFBT, solution-focused.
solution-focused brief therapy.
Yeah.
The methods and techniques have been used very successfully in charter schools in the U.S. and has also been seen as a very good overall tool for in education as a way
Yeah.
to help students succeed.
Yeah.
So what we do is we focus on the successes. What are you good at? And let's build on
That's
what you're
the essence
successful.
of the therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also in education. So for example, let's say you had someone, for example, who was dyslexic. You'd have them, they'd be writing, and instead of pointing out all the things they would write wrong, you would say, oh look, you wrote that D correctly. Hey, that word you did right. Because of course they have been successful at one point, so let's build on what was there. It's under the concept of watering the flowers and not the weeds. And I don't know
Say
any
that again, is that
watering the flowers and not the weeds.
not the weeds. All right. Yeah. It's like just feeding the carrot and not using the stick.
Yes, although I'm not saying no sticks.
Yeah.
Okay, I would be the last person to say sticks are not effective.
Yeah.
Although that sounds uncomfortable as well. But to use your analogy.
Yeah.
But I don't think any kid has, at least the ones I've met, either here in the Philippines or at the German school, no one's been overwhelmed with compliments. So it's not like you're going to be over positive. Some people say,
Nice
oh, it's too
suit,
positive,
nice
and that's not
suit,
the case.
yeah. So, big picture, what are you doing from the German school? How are you spreading this good word? What are you doing to impact the Philippines with this philosophy?
Yes. Well, interestingly enough, this year marks the 20th year anniversary of the Euro Campus. The Euro Campus
Right.
is both the French and the German school. Different schools, but on one campus. So this marks 20 years together, and our headmistress came up with the brainchild of having an academic kind of study as opposed to merely community outreach. So this year we came up with a research study in which we look at successful educational similarities in spite of our cultural diversity, and we're looking at the community schools in our area. So we have networked with Parañaque National High School, Moonwalk, and Sun Valley National High Schools, and we've done an exchange of information. And when we do our interviews and our information gathering, we use the solution-focused approach. So we ask them what works on a scale of 1 to 10. Where do you rate this? What can you do to have one thing better? So in this sense, we're looking for best practices in education. And all in the mindset of supporting the K-12 initiative, which, as you know, is a big deal here.
This is in agreement with DepEd or
Yes,
CHED, yeah?
absolutely.
They are aware of this, and
Absolutely.
so why just 3 schools? Why not every school in the country? I'm just asking, is that the next step?
Because my husband would tell me, Martha, you cannot go and interview every single school in the entire country. I would, all right, but I do have to have my limits, and thank goodness for my husband, or else I would never be home.
Well, it's also more like a pilot program.
Yes,
right?
we are pilot sitting. This is
pilot
the first
study.
time we've done this, and the first time we've had this interaction with our community schools. So we're going to be presenting the results on March 7th, and eventually we'd like
March
to...
7?
March 7.
Next year.
Yes, March 7th next year, and we'll see what comes out of this.
Well, what's the big picture goal? What's the big hairy
Yes.
goal? What will happen at the end of this project?
Yes. Well, we have a lot of different goals. One of them is to support the community schools in our area, and we're focusing on the local schools at the moment. And an exchange of viewpoints. We'd like to see what is working well in our schools, whether we be French, German, or Filipino. What are some things that work for all of us? How are we successful in this way? And so we are exposing ourselves to different educational venues, and we're bringing in the cultural lens of these different communities. So in this sense, we are giving ourselves a more international flair, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's also a way for the students to be exposed.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes as students, whether it's Filipino, French, or German, they live in their own community, in their own bubble.
Right.
So it's a way to expose them to people of the same age in different
See the
communities.
similarities and to appreciate them.
Yeah.
No? What
Especially
will
for expats, expat children. Sometimes they are
cocooned,
Yes.
as you were saying.
Yes.
You know, I know a lot of expats, even my family, has been partially cocooned, so
Yes.
we
Sure.
need them to go out on the street and understand.
Yeah.
What will be the action steps post the research, post the activity that's happening right now? What will you, DepEd, or the schools involved do?
Well, we hope to bring it onto a phase 2. We do this kind of student exchange also with some private schools in the area. So we can have an overall look at not only local schools, but private and also international. So we have a bigger picture of our best educational practices. But in terms of actual actions, there's a couple of things. First of all, we'd like to help support the schools who are starting with the K-12 initiative. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, look at things that work already and helping them and helping us look at different things that work for them that can carry through into this K-12 initiative. Secondly, just working together with the schools is excellent. The community projects that they have, we can partner up with them. I think it's either Sun Valley or Moonwalk. They have a coastal cleanup initiative that they are usually involved in, and we thought, hey, we could get in touch with that and go with them and do that. So we're really looking at community building. Is really what our goal is.
This won't impact the curriculum. Will it eventually change the curriculum on how subjects are taught, or just?
Probably not.
Yeah.
We did find out one interesting thing, though, about the curriculum, and they use the same kind of curriculum development as we do. It's called the Understanding by Design method. And
What's that?
it's Understanding by Design, UBD, and this is what we use.
What's
And it's just a way of putting your lesson plan together and having your goals based on end results and making sure you're teaching toward these end goals. So these high schools use this method, and we use the same method as well. So in terms of curriculum, we're already finding some strengths and some similarities in what we do. And we can support each other in that if we're both, if we have these similarities.
Understanding by design.
Yes.
That's what it's called. Okay, you seem not to know what's happening.
I don't know what this is, but it doesn't reflect on whether it's good or bad.
No, but it is a very good tool. Our IB director, Karen Carcamo, she came up with this, and this is what we're using for our IB diploma.
Well, moving from the current system to K-12, no, I'm not supposed to ask you this question, but what are the challenges of the schools? What are they concerned about?
Yes, they do have a lot of concerns, and actually I'm really not the expert on this. There's a
Yeah.
couple of people, for example,
Right.
Isagani Cruz and Ms. Doris Ferrer. Those are both people who know a lot more about this than I do. But just from the brief research that I've done in setting up this project, it seems like some of their challenges is trying to, they have to do an entirely different curriculum. So
Right.
starting
For
right
college
now,
and school.
well, for the 7th grade, everything from the 7th through the 12th grade is a new curriculum.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of teachers, or a lot of the teachers, having to do 2 different curriculums as they teach. Because while the 7th grade has a new curriculum, they still have all the grades after 7th grade using the older curriculum. So once they do that revolution, there's always going to be growing pains in that. And we won't really see the outcomes of this K through 12, eventually until like 6 or 7 years, if not 10. So it's hard to, put something into place when you're not really sure of the outcomes. But the German school also had to go that direction. We had to find an 11th and 12th option because we only had till 10th grade about 10 years ago. So for us, our 11th and 12th grade is also new.
So thus, correct me if I understand this right, so solution-focused education is looking for strengths in both, in 2 parties or more, and creating synergies and building on those synergies. And you're using this to develop these 3 schools initially, am I right?
Yes, that is one of our overall goals, yes. How far we will get in that,
So
I'm not sure.
Are you
but
happy with how it's going today?
Yes.
Yeah? What
Yes.
will make you more happier?
What will make
if
me
you-
happier?
Happier in this project, in this endeavor, yeah. Personally, from your experience being a Filipino and expat person in this country, what will make you happier? How would you want this to move faster?
How would I
And
want to move that?
strongly.
Well, we just finished the local schools visited us this last week, so I am looking forward to everyone to send in their results to me. So yes, I would love that. And I am very happy with the progress and with the timetable and with the dedication and really the initiative that the community teachers and students gave. I've been very impressed.
Is there any support you need from the audience, the people who watch, or people who might listen into this, or from Udo?
You know what? When our results come out, I can tell you better how we're going to
so
need
far
to
it's
start.
going good.
So far we're happy, and it's been a really great time for all of us schools.
So at the college level where Udo's teaching at the Ateneo, is he also practicing SFBT, or what's the principles behind
well,
that?
I'm not really using this, but of course over the years I have picked up some things from Martha along the way.
For example?
For example, that to be, what I'd like to do is I'd like to challenge the students, and rather than being sort of like to tell them what they should believe or what they should.
Yeah.
So I challenge them to start off with what they are good at, what are they interested in, and so I think that's a similar approach to education. What are your strengths? Where can you start from those strengths to develop a worldview which suits you? It's something that you can internalize, rather than having something that is sort of like
imposed upon you.
Yes.
But the subject matters you teach are?
Well, I teach classes like philosophy or theology, and those are the, I think, subjects that lend themselves to that as well.
To the challenges in thinking,
Yes, because a lot of the students, I think they've been taught ever since grade school on sort of like being imposed this is what you ought to do.
Downloaded upon them. No?
So
would you be able to cite an example or an incident where there was a discussion, an incident where students say, hey, we want to challenge this? Has there been a moment in your life or in yours, Martha?
Well, maybe not as dramatic as that, but I think from the discussions that I have, one thing is that, for example, when I have my classes, I don't lecture as much. And I think students are rather uncomfortable with that, because they expect the teacher to come in, talk for an hour and a half, and then leave. So these kind of discussions that I encourage in class, and then of course what the students talk about, they give me an indication that not only do they appreciate the chance that they actually have to voice their opinions, but to also be challenged in their worldviews, and then to be able to express their worldview. And I always say in my classes, especially in philosophy, that there's no wrong answer. So whatever answer you come up with it's your own personal answer, and of course that can be built upon, right? We can improve on that, but first of all, this is your answer.
Think around it. Think around it.
Yes.
My daughter goes to LaSalle, and she's taken up societal science. It's a new subject, and she comes back really happy every single day, because they get challenged, they work, they talk. It's not downloaded anymore on them. And I do adult education, so I do training, and that's the scenario. We argue, we bring up challenges, no? So you made a statement that students are now expect that teacher will come and teach, but I think that's changed a bit.
It depends on your venue, depends on where you are, and yeah, there's always change. And when people ask me where I see things going, I'm like, of course my background is SFBT, so I always say, it's always changing, it's always possible. It might go slow, like turning a really big ship, but it is turning and it will change. And to support this, one of the things that the high school teachers in these local schools were telling me is what they're excited about looking at this K through 12 is that they will have time to do this interaction that Udo was talking about. They said before we didn't have enough time. We have to get all the content out. It's just the way it is. He said, but now we should have time to be able to have discussions and have a more kind of a one-on-one kind of discussion and conversation. So they are looking forward to that, and they're excited.
So what does the future look like to you in the Philippines, given the fact that you're already putting in the effects of SFBT and the change that's coming through? How do you see Philippines changing in the coming years?
I think there is so much potential, and we have fantastic...
Say in the year 2020, what will education in the Philippines look like?
Well, I'm not sure if we're qualified to say that, but I think that's for my own personal take, I think people becoming much more critical thinkers. So
Oh.
when it's when maybe 20 years from now, that was your earlier question, what has changed in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Maybe that would be something maybe that I would indicate as one of the changes, not just 10, maybe 20 years, that people have they don't just believe what you tell them,
Right,
but
right.
because of the internet and the sources of information that are available to them,
Right, right.
they're much more questioning, why would I want to believe this? And
Right.
so they're becoming more critical.
Right,
in
right.
their
So the
thinking.
teacher has to compete with the environment that's teaching them much more in a much more better way than
Sure.
they were doing before, no? And what does the future hold for the Goebels, Mr. and Mrs.? Of course, you have 3 kids. I don't want to mention that, no? What does the future look like for you? What are you doing 2020? Both of you, still in the Philippines, becoming deans.
I was thinking
becoming-
about running for president. I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, okay, great. So Germany or Philippines? Martha?
You know, we've been here 12 years,
Right.
and every time someone asks us, we do say 2 years. So we give ourselves 2 years time limits all the time because we don't know what the future holds, and we
Oh.
don't know the opportunities
Wow.
that are here. So we always say 2 years. Our housing contract is 2 years. Our contracts with our visas are always 2. Everything's
Yeah.
2 years. So we just say 2 years.
Good.
And
So you live on the edge.
We do.
But it also, what I think, one aspect that has been important to us is the focusing on the needs.
Yeah.
We only want to be somewhere where there's a need. Sometimes we
Oh.
just do the things that
That's
we do
beautiful.
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
next 20 years. We'll do that,
Wow.
but then the need might change over, and so
Right.
I've seen that happening too. That
Wow.
there's places where I used to teach and there was no more need, and it doesn't
Right.
reflect on me,
Wow.
but it just reflects on the station.
I like that.
Changing.
I really, truly like that. That's a philosophy for me. Yeah. I'll be where I am needed. If I'm not needed, I'm out. That's
No,
beautiful.
we're out.
So thank you very much for being on Expat Insights.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for sharing insights on SFBT and what's happening in the educational system. Is there anything I should have asked you that I forgot to ask you about SFBT? Would you still want to add, or we've done a good job?
I think you did a fantastic job.
No, we. I never work alone.
I think
work as
we
a-
have done a fantastic job, and I'm always very positive.
So thank you very much for being on Expat Insights, and may God bless you on your journey of being where you're needed.
Thank you.
Salamat po.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that was Dr. Udo Goebel and Mrs. Martha Goebel on Expat Insights, and after the break we'll come back and talk to a gentleman